there. Your grocery runs are about to get way more complicated, and it could start as soon as May 2025. That's just weeks away, and I'm not being dramatic when I say this. 10 everyday items might disappear from your local shelves completely. Why? Because global supply chains are falling apart. Extreme weather is wrecking crops across the planet. On top of that, international conflicts are blocking vital shipping routes. It's a perfect storm. Prices on some of these products have already jumped 40% in just the last 2 months. And it's only getting worse. This isn't some future crisis. It's happening right now. But here's the good news. If you know what's coming, you can prepare. While others panic in the aisles, you'll already have smart alternatives ready to go. In this video, I'm breaking down which 10 items are on the chopping block, why they're disappearing, and what you can do to stay ahead. This isn't about hoarding. It's about thinking ahead and shopping smart. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end, because the last item on this list might already be in your pantry. And it's going to shock you. Let's jump into it, before it's too late. Item number 1. Coffee. Let's start with the one that hurts the most. Coffee. Your morning brew might soon be a luxury item. No, seriously, this isn't an exaggeration. It's the real deal. Global coffee production is in trouble. Big trouble. Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, is battling brutal droughts, record heat, and weird rainfall patterns. These aren't just farming headaches. Entire crops are failing. Some areas are growing 40% less coffee than they did just a few years ago. It's not just Brazil either. Vietnam, home to most of the Robusta beans used in instant coffee, is running low on water and dealing with unbearable heat. Add in high fertilizer prices, worker shortages, and political instability in countries like Colombia and Ethiopia, and the whole coffee supply chain is under pressure. Here's the twist. Demand isn't slowing down. More people are working from home and brewing their own coffee. So we've got less supply and more demand. You already know what that means. Higher prices. Some experts say coffee prices could jump another 30% or more by summer. In some US cities, premium beans have already doubled in price. And don't forget shipping issues. Coffee beans travel far to reach your mug. With port delays, fuel hikes, and container shortages, even beans that do exist might get stuck at sea. So what can you do? 1. Stock up now. Vacuum-sealed and freeze-dried coffee can last a long time if stored right. 2. Check out local roasters. They might have better, more reliable supplies than big-name brands. 3. Start cutting back a little now to stretch what you have. Your future self will thank you. We take coffee for granted until it's gone. Don't wait until May to realize you're out of luck and out of caffeine. Item number 2. Olive oil. Next up, olive oil, a kitchen staple that might soon cost as much as a fancy bottle of wine. The problem? Historic droughts in the Mediterranean, especially in Spain and Italy, which are the heart of global olive oil production. Spain alone produces nearly half the world's supply. But in 2024, their harvest dropped by more than 50%. And 2025 isn't looking any better. The land is dry, the trees are stressed, and farmers are warning there just aren't enough olives to go around. This isn't just bad news for Europe. It's a global ripple effect. Wholesale prices are skyrocketing. Major brands are reducing production or sneaking in lower-grade oils to stretch their supply. In some places, extra virgin olive oil has doubled in price, and the shelves are already thinning out. So what should you do? Buy now, not later. Look for dark glass bottles or metal cans. They block light and help the oil last longer. Store it right. Keep it in a cool, dark spot. Properly stored olive oil can stay fresh for up to 2 years. Try substitutes. Avocado oil is great for high-heat cooking and has a mild flavor. Coconut oil is excellent for baking and lasts forever. Sunflower oil is another solid option, affordable and available for now. And let me give you a heads up. Once people realize olive oil is vanishing, the panic buying will start. That's when you'll see limit one per customer signs and prices through the roof. If you've already noticed your store limiting stock or prices creeping up, drop a comment below. Let others know what you're seeing. Item number 3, rice. Let's talk about something that's in almost everyone's kitchen. Rice. That bowl of rice you have with dinner, it could turn into a rare luxury by May 2025. This isn't just about price hikes, it's about a global rice crisis that's hitting hard and fast. Right now, rice production across Asia is collapsing. Thailand, India, and Vietnam, countries that supply over 60% of the world's rice, are facing devastating harvest failures. What's scary is how fast it all changed. Just over a year ago, experts were predicting surplus crops. Today, agricultural ministers in Southeast Asia are holding emergency meetings every single week. Thailand lost nearly 30% of its rice fields due to massive floods, whole provinces underwater for weeks. Family farms that have grown rice for generations are now destroyed. India, the world's largest rice exporter, just extended its export ban for another year. That's 40 million tons of rice suddenly off the global market. Gone. Vietnam is dealing with the worst saltwater intrusion in decades. Seawater is creeping into rice fields, killing crops on contact. Farmers say it's unlike anything they've seen in their lifetimes. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, demand is exploding. With wheat prices through the roof, millions of people are turning to rice as their backup grain. Food banks in the US say rice requests are up 85% since last year. Even China is making massive moves, placing its largest rice import order ever, 2.5 million tons. When a country like China starts stockpiling rice, the rest of the world feels the shock. Don't think US production will save us either. California's rice crop is down 20% from drought. Farmers in Louisiana and Texas are switching to more profitable crops like soybeans. One rice farmer in Arkansas told me, "Half the guys I know are done with rice. It just doesn't make sense anymore." So what can you do? Buy alternatives now. Grains like quinoa, barley, bulgur wheat, and farro are still affordable and work well in place of rice. If you love rice, buy in bulk now and store it right. Use airtight containers, oxygen absorbers, and keep it in a cool, dry space. Properly stored, rice can last 2 to 3 years without losing quality. Prices have already jumped 37% since January, and it's only going higher. I've seen people literally arguing in the aisle over the last bag of jasmine rice. Don't wait for that moment. Prepare now and save yourself the stress later. Item number 4. Certain fish species. Now let's dive into the ocean, because your favorite seafood might soon vanish from the menu. We're not talking about just one fish here. This shortage is hitting multiple popular species, and fast. Let's start with wild salmon. One of the healthiest, most beloved fish is disappearing. Fishing reports show wild salmon catches are down 35% just since January. Why? Rising ocean temperatures. Some fishing zones have warmed by over 2 degrees Celsius, forcing salmon to migrate to unfamiliar waters or die off entirely. Alaskan fisheries, which once fed most of North America, are now reporting their worst season in 30 years. Some fishermen are giving up altogether, selling their boats because they simply can't make a living anymore. And it's not just salmon. Tuna stocks in the Pacific are collapsing. Yellowfin tuna populations are down nearly 60% from last year. Major seafood companies in Japan have already declared force majeure. That's legal speak for, we can't fulfill our contracts, even if we wanted to. And here's something most people don't know. Even farmed fish aren't immune. Why? Because fish farms depend on wild-caught fish for feed. So if wild fish disappear, the farms suffer too. Let's talk about cod, those frozen fillets many of us rely on for quick dinners. Some grocery chains are already limiting purchases to 2 packs per customer. A store manager I spoke with last week said he's receiving less than 1/3 of his usual cod shipments. He's been in the business 22 years and told me, I've never seen anything like this. So what's going on? It's a 2-part disaster. 1. We're overfishing like never before. 2. Ocean ecosystems are collapsing due to warming, pollution, and microplastics. A new study just found 94% of commercial fish samples contain microplastics. These fish are literally being poisoned, and we're running out of time to fix it. So here's how to prep. Stock up on canned tuna, frozen salmon, and any cod products you can find now. Expect those $12.99 per pound fresh salmon fillets to hit $30 or more if they're available. Consider alternatives like tilapia and catfish. They're farm-raised and still available, but prices are climbing fast. I'm not saying panic, but I am saying plan. I personally grab an extra can of tuna every shopping trip. Nothing wild, just quietly preparing while it's still easy. Item number 5, avocados. Avocados, they're no longer just for trendy toast. They could soon be one of the first casualties in the ongoing food supply crisis. If you've noticed avocados getting pricier lately, you're not imagining it. California's avocado farmers are fighting brutal drought conditions, and water allocations are being slashed across the board. This isn't just a bad season. It's a long-term problem. In early 2025, California's avocado yield dropped by 30% compared to last year. Some farms have even started pulling out entire groves to save on water costs. And if you think we can just rely on imports from Mexico, think again. Cartel-related disruptions and labor shortages are causing significant delays at the US-Mexico border, making it harder to get avocados into the US. On top of that, US supplies are collapsing just as demand keeps rising. Here's the kicker. Analysts are predicting avocado prices could jump 40% to 60% by mid-2025. This isn't a gradual increase. It's the kind of sticker shock that could hit hard for families trying to eat healthy or follow keto or plant-based diets. So, what should you do? Buy now while they're still available and affordable. Freeze-ripe avocados. They freeze surprisingly well for things like smoothies, guacamole, or spreads. If you act now, you won't have to miss out on your healthy fats come summer. Don't wait until May to realize you're facing empty shelves. Stock up before it's too late. Item number 6, certain spices. Let's talk about something you might not have thought of. Spices. They're often overlooked when we think about prepping. But right now, spices are facing an existential crisis. Here's why. More than 70% of the world's spice trade relies on just a handful of countries: India, Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. When those countries face droughts, floods, or political instability, the ripple effects are huge. In India, turmeric production dropped by 35% due to unseasonal rains. Vietnam's shipping delays are slowing down pepper exports. Cumin and coriander are also being impacted by unpredictable weather patterns and fuel shortages. And if that weren't enough, spices are a low-priority freight. When global shipping is backed up, manufacturers prioritize essentials like grains and dairy, which means spices get left behind, delayed or worse, cancelled altogether. Add in inflation, trade tariffs, and rising energy costs, and you've got a perfect storm that could wipe out entire spice shelves without warning. What should you do? Stock up on the essentials like black pepper, turmeric, cumin, cinnamon, and cloves. These spices aren't just great for flavor, they're key for making shelf-stable meals. And some, like turmeric and cloves, have anti-inflammatory and medicinal properties. You don't want to be stuck staring at empty shelves and paying $9 for a jar of black pepper. Trust me, start preparing now while they're still affordable. Item number 7, cocoa and chocolate products. If you've got a sweet tooth, brace yourself for a chocolate shortage. Cocoa and chocolate products are number 7 on our list, and it's going to be tough to get your fix soon. Did you know that 70% of the world's cocoa comes from just 4 countries in West Africa? Right now, these countries are in deep trouble. Ghana and Ivory Coast, the biggest cocoa producers, are facing their worst droughts in 30 years. Thousands of cocoa trees are literally dying off. What's even worse, labor shortages are escalating. Young people are leaving cocoa farming for city jobs, and in some regions, cocoa farmers are making less than $1 a day. Shockingly, chocolate companies have known about this collapse for years, yet did almost nothing to prevent it. So, what does this mean for you? By May, expect chocolate prices to surge by at least 60%. Those premium chocolate bars you love might go from $3 to $5 or more. And those items with high cocoa content, like dark chocolate, cocoa powder, and chocolate chips, they'll be the first to disappear. What can you do? Stock up on your favorite chocolate products now, especially dark chocolate, which can last over a year if stored properly. Freeze your cocoa powder and chocolate chips for long-term storage. If you're a baking fan, make sure you have a good stash of these before May hits. Some experts are even predicting that chocolate could become a luxury item again, just like it was hundreds of years ago. Don't let this one sneak up on you. Buy your chocolate stash now, while prices are still manageable. Item number 8, citrus. If you love your morning orange juice, get ready for a potential luxury price. Citrus fruits are facing a crisis unlike anything we've seen in decades. Citrus greening disease, also known as HLB or Huanglongbing, has already destroyed over 70% of Florida's orange groves since 2005, and now it's spreading faster than ever. This disease doesn't just threaten oranges, it's attacking all citrus varieties, from grapefruits to tangerines. What's the cause? Tiny insects called Asian citrus psyllids spread this bacterial infection, which effectively gives citrus trees a terminal illness. Infected trees produce bitter, misshapen fruit, and eventually, they die. The scary part? There's still no cure. Despite billions in research, effective treatments remain elusive. A Florida farmer I spoke with last week told me he's lost 90% of his trees in just 3 years. And if that's not enough, climate change is making matters worse. A severe frost hit California's lemon crops last winter, wiping out nearly 30% of the harvest overnight, sending prices soaring by 15% in a single week. Meanwhile, Spain and Italy, major citrus producers, are grappling with record heat waves, stressing their Mediterranean citrus production to the breaking point. These aren't isolated weather events. They're part of a new pattern that's devastating global citrus production. What does this mean for you? By February, you'll notice fewer oranges on store shelves and higher prices. By March, lemons and limes will become scarce. Remember the lime shortage of 2014, when prices quadrupled? This could be worse. By May 2025, expect to pay 3 times as much for citrus fruits if you can find them at all. What can you do? Stock up on vitamin C supplements now, before everyone else catches on. Consider growing an indoor citrus tree if you have the space. Meyer lemons do surprisingly well indoors with the right care. Freeze lemon zest and juice in ice cube trays. Each cube equals about 1 tablespoon for cooking. Experiment with alternatives like sumac or vinegar for recipes that call for lemon juice. This citrus crisis will eventually subside, but the next 8 to 12 months will be tough. While new resistant citrus varieties are being developed, these solutions take time, so plan accordingly. And remember, this crisis isn't just about breakfast. Thousands of farming families have lost their livelihoods. If you find citrus at reasonable prices, consider it a rare find in these challenging times. Item number 9. Wheat products. Say goodbye to your morning toast and favorite pasta. Wheat products are facing a crisis like we've never seen before. Ukraine and Russia, which together produce nearly 30% of the world's wheat exports, are still caught in conflict. And just last month, new sanctions cut exports by another 15%, worsening the global wheat shortage. But here's something most people don't realize. Droughts are also hitting wheat production hard in North America. Kansas, part of the American wheat belt, has seen a 47% drop in wheat production compared to last year. Fields that should be golden are turning brown and brittle, and many farmers are abandoning wheat for more drought-resistant crops. Canada is facing its own disaster. After the wildfires last summer, the smoke damage has affected the soil quality in ways scientists are still trying to understand. Some fields now have unusual pH levels, making wheat cultivation nearly impossible without expensive remediation. So, what does this mean for you? Bread prices have already jumped 22% since January. By May, you can expect to pay double for bread if you can find it at all. I noticed it myself last week. 3 stores in my area had completely sold out of flour by noon. People are panic buying, making the shortage even worse. Pasta won't escape either. Major brands are already quietly reducing package sizes while keeping prices the same. That box of spaghetti you used to pay $1.69 for. Now it's $2.19 or more for less. This is called shrinkflation, and it's happening right under our noses. The restaurant industry is feeling the pain too. I spoke with 3 local bakeries last week, and all of them have had to raise prices by 30% just to stay afloat. One bakery owner even told me she's considering closing her doors because customers simply can't afford $8 loaves of bread anymore. What can you do? Stock up on flour now, especially if you bake at home. Flour can last up to a year in airtight containers if kept cool and dry. Explore alternatives like cassava flour, almond flour, or chickpea pasta. They might taste different, but your body will adjust. I've already started experimenting with cauliflower crust pizza and coconut flour, and it's actually been pretty delicious. This wheat crisis won't last forever, but it will last long enough to disrupt the market. Plan ahead and stay prepared. Don't wait until your favorite loaf of bread costs $10. Item number 10. Certain dairy products. Got milk? You might not for much longer. Dairy products are facing a perfect storm, and some of your favorites could become nearly impossible to find. By May, butter prices have already jumped 28% since January, and that's just the beginning. The dairy crisis is hitting fast and hard, impacting everything from your morning coffee to your favorite baked goods. So, why is this happening? Farmers are paying double for feed compared to last year due to skyrocketing corn and soy prices caused by global shortages. On top of that, energy costs to run dairy farms have increased by nearly 35%, forcing smaller operations to shut down completely. And devastating droughts are drying up grazing lands across major dairy regions like California, Wisconsin, and even international suppliers in New Zealand. What many don't realize is that dairy cows require specific temperature ranges to produce milk efficiently. With extreme heat waves becoming more common, milk production per cow has dropped by an average of 17% in affected regions. To compensate, farmers are spending thousands on cooling systems just to keep their herds comfortable enough to produce. But that's not all. The supply chain is breaking down. We've lost over 2,000 small dairy farms in just the last 6 months, and more are closing every day. Refrigerated transport costs have jumped 42% due to rising fuel prices, making it unprofitable to ship dairy products to certain regions. Processing plants are operating at just 60% capacity because of worker shortages and delays in machinery repairs. What does this mean for you? Heavy cream is already becoming scarce in many regions, with some stores limiting purchases to 1 carton per customer. Specialty cheeses like Parmesan and Gruyere may completely disappear by April as European producers face their own crises and export restrictions. Organic milk production is down 31%, and it's getting harder for farmers to increase supply due to strict certification requirements. Even basic yogurts and cottage cheese are facing alarming supply issues. Warehouse stocks are at their lowest levels in 15 years, and some major manufacturers have quietly discontinued certain varieties to focus on their best sellers. What can you do? Consider switching to plant-based alternatives before those become scarce too. Oat milk sales, for example, have increased 213% this year alone, and production can't keep up. Stock up on powdered milk for emergencies. It lasts for years and works well for cooking. If you see butter on sale, grab it and freeze it. It keeps for months, and pro tip, portion it into smaller containers before freezing so you only thaw what you need. The dairy aisle you know today will look completely different by summer. Prices will continue to climb, selection will shrink, and those out-of-stock signs may become permanent. Don't wait until the shelves are empty to start making a plan. Your morning coffee and weekend pancakes depend on it. So there you have it, 10 grocery items that will become incredibly hard to find by May 2025. These shortages aren't happening overnight, but they are accelerating faster than most experts predicted. Coffee and olive oil will likely be the first to disappear, with significant shortages appearing in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Rice, avocados, and citrus will follow by late April. By May, expect to see empty shelves where chocolate, wheat products, certain fish, spices, and dairy used to be. But don't panic. Being prepared is different from panicking. Start by gradually building a small reserve of non-perishable items you use regularly. Consider exploring alternative foods now before you're forced to. Plant-based milk options, ancient grains like quinoa instead of rice, and local seasonal produce can help you adapt. For items with longer shelf lives like coffee, olive oil, and certain spices, it makes sense to stock up now while prices are still reasonable. Just don't go overboard. Buy what you'll actually use. Most importantly, diversify your diet. This is actually the perfect opportunity to try new foods and recipes that don't rely on these vulnerable ingredients. You might discover new favorites that are more sustainable and affordable in the long run. If you found this information helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more practical advice on navigating these challenging times. Drop a comment below with your own tips for dealing with these shortages. We're all in this together. Remember, those who prepare calmly today won't have to panic tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.